innovative content, global audience.
Hello, you welcome back. Sorry for that break in transmission. I am doing this with my co-host Mary, and we're just discussing about distance relationship. Like I said earlier, you can always call us in and tell us your idea, your view. What do you think about relationship? Are you into it? Is it something you can do or something you cannot do? And of course, you tell us the reasons. You can always call us on 080-3816-4179. Mary, like I was saying before that break, I said a lot of people go into it with different reasons, but like I said earlier, if we really want it to work, we could always have that compromise. You will have to compromise at some point, and of course, but I always tell people before you go into that relationship, I know it's not every relationship that we're supposed to define, but when distance is involved, we should be able to define the relationship. What do we want at the end of the day? Because I don't belong to the school of thought that will say somebody should sit down and keep waiting without knowing what the future holds. Yes, what you're waiting for. So you just sit somewhere and then that is peculiar with you, the Igbos. Tell me something about it. When they will do this thing in your place that the person is abroad, now those who now boys abroad here and there, fine boys, they'll be waiting, the girls will be waiting. Even sometimes they don't when they want to do their marriages, they don't come home. They'll put their pictures on the chair and all that, and then the girl will have to wait and all that. So tell me something about this thing in your place. I know it's very peculiar with your people, from the east. Serious.
But can I correct you on this?
Okay, sure.
It's only the Igbos.
I know, but when I say it's peculiar, means that it's more common there.
Okay.
A lot of you guys are abroad now. Nobody they go abroad first.
But
Is
this
this
thing you're talking
in-
about?
yes.
Most times, I think inside 100%, 90% fails. Because let's not be like, maybe I'm dating you with no purpose or with no reason. You understand? So the person comes up and be like, okay, let me do the needful by paying your bride price. And I think these things happen mostly when you're dealing with a desperate girl now that just want to marry. In fact, you love the marriage more than the relationship. You love the marriage more than the person you're dating. Let me just get married. So, and Obodo Yibo, as Igbo people call it,
Of course.
that's
Very
how
important.
they will accept. They will accept very well. So, but me, my take on this, I don't really think it's necessary because most times this marriage is failed. You know, you be outside the country and you're getting married here. Sometimes that before they comes back to the country, this marriage has scattered. At least I know of someone.
Okay.
When it did happen, God forgive me, like she was actually posting it everywhere.
Was the pepper on her?
Yes, this marriage with no ring. Who
Pepper
is there to wear you the ring now? There's no ring now. You understand? But you're married. And after the posting, even if they're on video call, she posts on social media because
you
I'm not a
serious?
big fan of posting relationship on social media. I don't actually believe in that. So I'm after the posting and everything. I think the guy didn't even come back, and this marriage I'm not even sure the marriage is working anymore. It's not working.
She's no longer posting.
Yes.
That calm down.
Yes. Yeah, when you say it's peculiar with Igbo people, I'm not doubting it. Because they so much love this Obodo Igbo marriage.
I say that because I remember way back in school, I used to have these neighbors in school. Beautiful Igbo girls in my hostels, like in that hostel way in school, I was the only one that is not from the east, like can speak Igbo. Every other person, then we had 12 hostels, and then some of these hostels you have 3 girls there, 2 girls, so you can imagine how the place was crowded. And then I remember these very beautiful girls, they will be living all kind of fly life in school, the dressing, the bombshell, they go here and all that. And then during that December time when they want to go to the east, not like they go there on a year like every day, but that December time they always go to the east. They will come and wear these Mary Amaka skirts. They will come and make this weaving. They will come and be pretending, and they will tell me that they are going to also look the Igbo boys are coming and all that. And so I was thinking that, so you just see somebody, they come, and then you just see them and you like them, and then the next thing is marriage. That for real, that before the end of that December, even maybe first week of the new year, they would have been married off. I said, wow, that is serious. So you don't go into any commitments like this. Is like we're in it, like people can be mutual, like okay, let's get to know each other, right? Let's get to, you can still go back to your brother, and then we will be dating and courting. Let's see how it goes. I'm a fan of courting. You don't just sit somebody and the next thing you dive into relationship.
Yes.
But of course, like she said, that it's what they do mostly in their place, and it's working out well for them and all that. But my take is that I will still tell people, the viewers, that distance relationship is not for the faint-hearted. Oh. If you don't
So
have
you
heart,
know, so
I know.
okay, now is it everybody that have hearts? At least God created us differently.
Is what I'm
With a
saying, that
different
it's not for
mindset.
the faint-hearted.
So which means it has its own big disadvantage.
It has, of course, it has. It has now. Because if you are not with the person, you don't tend to know what they do. You can't just bunch it to them. For instance, you're dating somebody from like in Asaba. You can't just enter road and be going to Asaba. The person will have to be aware that you're coming. But in Abuja, you can easily just walk to their house.
Okay.
Hello,
I'm glad
who's
you know.
home? and then, but this one you can't just fly miles, rivers, and oceans and all that, and go and be seeing somebody without their knowledge. And so that's another disadvantage. And I will always tell people also to define their relationship. You don't go into relationship, distant relationship, without knowing what you want at the end of the day. Of course, except you just say, let me just date for dating's sake. We know that, of course, not all relationship that will lead somewhere. Some serve no road. We know from the beginning. Well, you know, girls now and guys, they will just want to try. We are not saying of course, there's no harm in trying, but while you're at it, do what you know that at the end of the day, you have the energy, the stamina to withstand whatsoever comes out of that relationship. But I will always tell people, as they're dating somebody, you have to remove trust issues
Have an
from your
open
heart.
heart.
You have to have an open heart. You have to
Don't expect
know.
too much.
Yes, when you expect so much, that is when the issues
Ah.
even arise from.
Honestly.
Because when they tell you, oh, I'll call you back, I'm on the road, and then you don't call back, you feel like, oh, he has gone somewhere, she did something, this, that. So you have to learn to trust your partners also. Me, for one, I always trust people. I don't used to, but now I trust people. Once they tell me I'm in the markets, I will call you back, or I'm on the road, I'll call you back. I don't check you. Even if I know very well you are not there, I take you by your word. Do you get? This life is simple. Sometimes you have to, if you don't expect, so if you don't expect too much, you don't get to hurt yourself so easily. It's when you expect so much from people, and then it's not forthcoming. Before you know, you start breaking down mentally and emotionally. Before you know, you are down. You begin to think things left and right, things that you're not supposed to be thinking. So I'm thinking that you should be able to have that mind that whatever happens at the end of the day is fine, and you trust your partner and define what you want. If you can't define, at least know to an extent what you want at the end of the day. Sometimes too, you can tell yourself the easy way out, the truth, the bitter truth that people don't want to always listen or hear, is that whatever happens, it could be this, it could be this. Two things are involved. How will I embrace the two? Do you get? You
Yes.
know that you already know, so you set your mind at it, and then this life is easy for everybody to live. So what would you advise somebody now, like in a sentence? Somebody planning to go into a distance relationship, or somebody that is saying, I cannot do it, I don't think I can do it. What can you tell them in a plain language, Mary?
I don't want to be religious here. Or
Go ahead.
I'll
We're
say
free
pray.
here. It's a playground.
I will just say pray more when you're in a distance relationship. Pray for your spouse and pray for God to reveal things for you. Because when you start saying things on your own, you wouldn't need anyone to tell you to walk away. You understand? So my advice for, because I believe even this distance relationship, it works for some people, it doesn't work for some people. So me, what I want to say in a simple sentence, going in a distance relationship with an open heart and be prayerful at it. So that's what I'm asking.
So let's assume you're in a relationship right now. I can see that you're not really much of a fan, like from what you said so far, and I don't blame you, of course. Once beaten, twice shy. I understand your feelings. But let's assume you're in a relationship, all is rosy, that's all thing working out well, and then boom, there's a scholarship, there's something, you have to travel to the UK or maybe to the US for like 6 months. What happens?
I will go. Like, I want to give it a second
Yeah, I
chance.
was hoping that you would not go
Why won't I?
because you don't like a distance relationship.
Because even if I'm close, if it will not work, it will not work out.
Simple,
So
you
what
see.
about
So
me?
you
I
are
need a
back
good
at
life for
where
myself. You understand?
that is what I tell people also. While you are at that relationship, fine. You are trying to make it work. That is the prayer of everybody, every young person. You are not just the young people, even the married. I used to tell people, you do you know that most of this divorce, because the rate of divorce is really, really high. And then I'm thinking that if you check very well, communication too is even part of it. They don't communicate.
They just want to marry.
They don't People do not communicate. And I tell people also, the things you do way back in wooing me, don't stop doing them. It's when you stop that the problem will start.
Sure.
You don't tell somebody every day
Just
you
I
are
don't
the
start
most
what you
beautiful
cannot
girl in
finish.
the world, even if I know that I'm not. Just keep
Honestly.
saying it. That is the truth. Let me keep hearing it. And then at the end of the day, I still tell people to, you need to keep developing the habits. We know that people we are all busy. We are there, somebody's working, you're working, but find out the time. Like this morning on my way to the office, I was driving and I received a call. I called somebody last night. I was really worried about him because he's having a little health issues here and there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey God, may not be say this thing not this serious. But some he called back this morning that he was really down, business stuff and office stuff and all that. Had some issues and he was really, really, really down. The thing was so serious. He had to take some medication. And like, hey, I thought as much. So sometimes you have to learn to communicate. You have to not just, we are not talking, okay, now when it comes to communication, we're not talking about just lovers. So we're
Yes.
talking about friendship, we're talking about parents, we're talking about families, friends. So if you don't communicate, it brings distance. There's this, it will bring this lacuna,
Yes.
there's
Break.
this, and
Break.
before you know,
Yeah.
issues start coming. So I tend to beg people to always communicate, to always put in the same energy. I know some at some point, like I'm always a fan of talking to guys because I always want to know their views on the issues. And then I spoke to this same guy that said he cannot even involved in a distant relationship for any reason because he cannot always suppressing the urge when the urge comes to be with the woman. And then I he told me also that once in a relationship, the energy after the first month, the energy is not always the same.
True.
And I said, okay, I know that the energy can never be the same, but you still have to create time. You still have to create the things to an extent. And then the thing that we don't become siblings at the end of the day. I don't want to get to that part in a relationship when I become your sibling. I beg, no vex. We are not siblings. So that same thing you used to do, the things you used to tell me, and all that sweet, sweet things, continue. Even if it will drop to an extent, it's fine, but still continue. Do you get?
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Because it's when you stop that means we're not siblings or we're not just friends. And who does that? We're in a relationship, so we should be able. And another thing I want to specify on this the distance relationship is that um sometimes when you're alone, when you're distant, it helps also because I noticed that the youths of this day are like our people here. They tend to do what married people do, and that's another negative side to relationship.
Exactly.
when you begin to do things that married people do in a relationship, then when you get married, what will you do? That has always been my question. Don't get me wrong, people. I'm not saying that don't do things that you're supposed to do for your man or for your woman and all that, but there should be a limit to the things you do. You don't do things that married people do. You are not his wife. Don't do the wife duty. The wifey duty, don't do all. I know very well that a lot of people will want to come and say, "Oh, so how will I know who she is? How will I know
She'll make a good wife.
you are a good husband?" But my point is, there are still ways you can know that this person is good. Like I will always tell people, the way they treat others, not just you. People could be in love with you, right? And could really love you to the extent of not wanting to hurt you. But look at the way they talk to others. Look at the way they treat others around you, not just around you, but even on the way. You tend to know that this person will change over time. This is another topic for another day. Maybe the red flags, we'll take it another day. But for today, we are just saying that when you're in a distance relationship, um, do the needful to make it work. That if you really want to make it work, and don't forget that people say it's bad. I feel like the take home is that it's not really bad, because I don't get to do all the things that married people do sometimes. So it helps you to hold yourself as a woman. It helps you also to when you want to, like I said, people will come and be cooking for one man. Like I have friends, they go there. I know my cousin the other day was quarreling. My older cousin was quarreling with her friend, that they're both way older than I am. My cousin is married, the friend is she's not. And then they were quarreling. My cousin was telling the girlfriend, "Why would you go to a man's house and come and be staying 2 weeks for what? Is he your husband?" I'm like, whoa, that is too much. If you have to go 1 2 days and then we're fine, you come back home. Don't do that wifey thing, and then you cook, you clean, you do this, you do that. So what's stopping you from having children? Because that is what is remaining actually. So just do things that couples leave married things for married people, and then as single people, do things that single people do. Let's keep up with the cutting, with the dating, the dinner nights and all that late night calls and all that sweet things.
Yeah.
And so that when you get married, at least you try to, you experience these things. Not like now you will be doing all the work, the married things, so much energy and all that. And some of them at the end of the day they still don't work. So I keep saying
Exactly.
it's not even
It's not about those
how far is
sacrifices
that
or
well.
all those work,
A
honestly.
man that will love you. I once have this friend in here at Yanyan that went to Jos to see the boyfriend. She will go there every weekend. Imagine insecurity issues we're
Who is
having.
even paying the transport?
You will go from here to Jos on weekly basis every weekend. She cooks, she cleans, makes soup, stew, and everything. And I kept telling her that, babes, I don't like what you're doing. I'm not saying you should go, but go once in a while. This is becoming too frequent. Like, well, I will not understand now. You can't leave men for too long. Or if you leave them for too, like what she said, they are moved by what they see. And I said, okay, it's fine. It's fine. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you don't necessarily need to be around them all the time. And I said, okay, what we'll do is, I think we have some questions or some views. So I think at the end of the day, we have to be sure that the person has the same feelings towards you before you start doing all that. And one time when she traveled to that place, she came back on her way she came back and she got to find out that she left the man had to travel. She went there on Friday. The man traveled that same Friday evening, I think night or so, so that he was going for the father uncle's burial and all that, and that the lady should sweep and clean everywhere and then drop key and go. And that's why she left on Saturday or Sunday. And it was on Facebook that she got to see the man's wedding pictures. So the point is this: if it's not even half far, is that we know the people you're with. No, try to study them from it's not everything you tell a man. You might want to study a man. I know people could be carried away when it comes to love, but then you on your own try to study them from within you, and that's all. So what are you telling your viewers? We're wrapping up.
Okay, I was talking about distance and how I'm not enjoying it. But I just want to tell my viewers that they should be positive in whatever relationship they find themselves, because it's not about whether close by, whether distance. If it will work, it will work. If it will not work, it will not work. Just like I said, keep it up, keep praying for your partner. Make sure you're praying for them. Make sure you care for them, because sometimes we also have our faults. Even the ladies, you might actually not be too caring or that caring the way he wants it, and there might be things he might want to hear from you that he might not be hearing. You understand? Do you know that this word "how are you" goes a long way? How are you? Is there anything bothering you? It makes the person feel, man, I'm so loved by this person. It's not about outing. Now, okay, let's remove the outing part, the flexing part. When those things are not available in a relationship, how do you go? Do you still stay in love when there's no outing? When there's no gifts? All those times he'll be buying you gifts, taking you to places. When those things are not available, remove the romance part. Do you love this person unconditionally to this extent? Can you stay? That's why I say pray for them and always be
I
open.
think we have some questions from the comment section, right? So, somebody saying, how do you handle the issues of what's that? How do you
Sex.
sex in distance relationship? Whoa.
Use
Okay, I
that one.
asked you. I asked you this earlier, and then of course, this is adult program, of course. And then when we say romance and relationships, these are some of the things that, of course, and in a relationship, sex is key. Let's not deceive ourselves. Sex is key, is important. And then men, we tend to tell you, like my former relation, my ex guy will tell you that you're stabbing me, you're this, you are not here, and all that. We understand all that thing, but like I said earlier, you will always find a way to make this work. And define your relationship, because when you're going into distance relationship, you already know that the sex part will come to play. So before that time, you would have defined the relationship. I like I said earlier, I have never been lucky to have a relationship around where I am. It's always a distance relationship. And then when it comes to the sex part, when we talk about sex in relationship, distance relationship, there must be a compromise when that urge comes. And that is why a lot of people say that cannot do the distance relationship. But when it comes, there must be a compromise. Somebody must move. If Mohammed no move, say man thing will do it, go move. But at the end of the day, there should be a movement. And not like we are trying to portray uh, sex and all that. But of course, these are the things in relationship you cannot shy away from. So if you cannot talk the person, calm the person down over the phone, then somebody will have to move at the end of the day. Except for the fact that the person is so far away outside the shores of the country, where you will not be easily to easily get to them or go to them. Fine. Of which you can still do over the phone, of which you can talk to the person calmly and they tend to understand and they tend to hold on longer. Otherwise, if it's within your reach, you will have, oh boy, you have to move. Babe, you have to move, because these are things that you cannot take away from relationship. As an adult, if you're in a relationship, of course, we talk about communication, and that is why I asked about the sex earlier. That is a very key part that you have to, at the end of the day, you have to focus on when you're in a relationship. We're not saying, a lot of people also practice the relationship of no sex in relationship, then it's fine. That is why I said it's something that you have to define before you enter into. And if you define no sex in relationship, then it's fine. Praise God. But if you don't define that, at the end of the day, you have to find a way to make it work. You have to look for the possible way to get to the person, as at the time they will be needing you or you will be needing them. And then that somehow control the issue of urge of sex in relationship. Thank you very much. Is there another question? What exactly are the needful things to, I can't say,
To do in
to
order to have a healthy
healthy
distance
relation?
relationship.
Yes, one of the things to do is that you have to make communication key. You've said that before. You have to communicate more. When somebody is closer to you, there's this tendency of, oh, no problem, no need to call. I'll just write there later. I'll tend to see them later. We'll see in church tomorrow. We hang out tomorrow, so it's fine. it's a different ball game. But when the person is far, that is the only way you talk, you communicate. So if you cannot call them all the time, there's something we'll call SMS chats. How you doing? What's up with you today? There are things you do. So communication is very important when it comes to, we said like every other relationship, whether near or far is important, but when it comes to distance relation, it's even more important that you communicate often, like all the time. And then another thing you should do also is that know when to, because they are not with you can't tend to read their minds, you can't tend to read their moods. Like my colleague said earlier, know when to ask, to check on them, apart from the communication of phone. Know when to say how you doing, important, because you're not seeing their expression most times. So it's when you hear from them that you get to know whether or not they are all right. And then, of course, we talked about the sex already, what to do when you're in a distant relationship to make it healthy. At some point, you have to compromise. Somebody must have to compromise at the end of the day to move. If you don't move, the other person should move. To have a healthy distance relationship, you have to trust your partner. If not, everyday fighting, everyday problem, everyday fighting, everyday quarreling, and that is not healthy for a relationship. When you trust somebody, don't forget that when you trust somebody, there's this tendency that even if you know that deep down in you or to others that this thing might not be true, but because of the trust, you just wave it. That I'm not saying that you should be foolish or you should just look away totally. But when you trust somebody, because of course, if you cannot even love somebody, you cannot be in a relationship without trusting your partner, right? And that is why that you're in a relationship, you could go, your partner say, let's go somewhere and have fun. You don't know the place, but you go with them, it's trust.
Yes, it's trust.
So at the end of the day, trust your partner. It's not all the time you have issues with, you bring arguments unnecessarily. Sometimes just give them the benefit of the doubt that okay, I was in there, I've been very busy at work. I have been this, I slept off and all that. Sometimes tend to just believe. And then it's when it becomes a reoccurring issue that you now have that issue, that you cannot say, okay, I think this is becoming one too frequent. Let me do something.
Let's have a conversation
about this. Otherwise, you have to trust them, regardless of the distance. Just put your mind at rest. Of course, now who they like they do relationship. Oh. May you not kill yourself unnecessarily. Like
you die, they move on.
If you die, then they will move on to the next immediately. So for that, you have to put your mind at rest. You have to know that they are okay where they are. Just calm heart. And when they tell you, okay, I'm fine, or this, I'm here, just believe. It's when it's becoming when when they say it today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, the other day, the same thing, then you know that something is up. And then at that point, you have to do your findings and your checking. Of course, no matter how far they are, if you want to check people, you can always check them. They are your loved ones. There must be people around them that you know also. You're dating, they must have friends, family that you're close to also. But I think that with trust issue, with communication, with healthy sex relationship, you'll be able to have a healthy distance relationship. That's some of the things we think that can help you when it comes to distance relationship. Mary, what's up? So what are you telling them? Say something.
Okay, I just want to tell. Okay, this is most especially for the female folks. I think men, they need peace. All they want is peace. You understand? But sometimes they overuse these things on us because they want peace. They want us to act like fools. We shouldn't talk when we need to talk.
I think that would be a discussion for another day because, like I said earlier, not on the show though, that I remember the tweet of the Olori of Elegushi that said that no matter what, all men cheat, no man born of a woman that does not cheat. And so that's a discussion for another day. But I think I know that men look for peace, they stay where they have peace, but the men that will cheat will still cheat. Like she said, she never knew that she could share her home, her husband with another woman. But this is where she is today, and there's nothing she can do about it. But at the end of the day, we are women, right? And I will always still tell the ladies, in as much as we try to be in a relationship, we try to do what we have to do
Use your head on.
to make sure that that name, don't be desperate to be a missus, because that is where the problem will start from. You have to know this person, whether close, whether near or far. You have to know them, study them very well before know that, like we say in a relationship, there are red flags and yellow flags. When you know that the red flags, of course, if you can't you move, red flags you move, but if yellow flags, those are some of the things you could work on, then it's fine. But don't just be in a relationship because people want to be in a relationship, or because you want to answer the name Mrs. And by the way, if you're in a distance relationship, try to make it work. This is our topic for the day: distance relationship, the do's, the don'ts, what to do and what not to do. And sometimes we said also that don't create unnecessary drama just because you're away and you think the person, they might be telling you the truth still. They might tell you that I've been busy, and of course they've been busy. So sometimes you give them the benefit of the doubt, like we said. So is there any other question? So thank you so much for being with us on the show today. We are we're glad that you could actually join us. Like I said, we'll be doing this on a weekly basis. I'll be doing this with my beautiful co-host, and of course, you'll be seeing some other faces, not just me. Also, we'll be seeing some beautiful faces here. And then we're Mary. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're welcome, ma.
That will be all for today. I remain yours truly, Princess Cassie, and this is Romance and Relationship from your SRTV studio, Abuja. The final words. Signing out, Mary.
SRTV.